Amanda here from DMG, and welcome to the next installment of my mini-series taking a look at some of the gaming guides. So the next one that we're going to do is Dark Souls, but this is Dark Souls Remastered. So this is obviously the game itself has been remastered, so this is the book that goes with that remastered version. So we're going to take a look at that. Now this is also currently available. I don't know how long for, but I did find this available no problem at this point in time on Amazon. However, obviously with all these Future Press guides, they do have a limited run, and then it seems once they're gone, and then the only way to get hold of them is like second hand, and you pay a lot more for them that way. So let's take a look at Dark Souls Remastered. So as with the previous guides, we've got a great hardback book, good size. This one is a little smaller in dimensions, I mean just smidgy smaller than the others, but still good and still lovely. The quality of the pages just as good as all the others. Really nice sort of thickness, like not super thick, but enough that it doesn't feel cheap and nasty, and it's got a beautiful sort of coating on it, which I think you can probably just catch there in the light, which again makes it feel really nice as well. So the book itself and the contents, so again we start off with beautiful artwork. Prepare to die again. I think that is so true, isn't it, with Dark Souls. And this one I haven't played yet. I am dying to do so, but I still need to finish Bloodborne, so I really want to finish that before I start Dark Souls. I think that might end up being confusing if I'm not careful with that one. So we've got a little introduction here. So this, as I said, is the updated version, and this was redone in 2018. We've got chapter overview here. Again, beautiful artwork coming through, just looks so lovely. Chapter 1 is all about the game itself, you know, the mechanics of the game. And that goes to about here. And we have here just getting started, so creating your character, the classes of the character, and all about those classes, why you'd have one class over another, etc. Then we go into the display on the screen and exactly what all the different things are for and what they mean. So that's all really cool and helpful, because sometimes you look at that and you're like, what the heck does that symbol mean? So that's really useful. Then it just talks about the messages, the cutscenes, open world structure, the bonfires, gesture menu, firekeepers, what that actually means, what is a firekeeper, what you do when you're exploring and all the different things that are around, so breakable walls, traps, etc. Character control, locking on the camera, rolling, so lots and lots of information there as well. And again, lots of screenshots which are helpful. Some of them are a bit tiny, but I think, you know, they're big enough to get the point across that they're making. So here, this one's quite a small picture, but it's talking about number 3, and it's just saying about exploring to find another way. So it's just showing a gate and that you found another way through. So you didn't need to see all the detail on the screen. You can see enough on there for the point that they're trying to make at that particular moment in their text. So then here again, as we did with the Bloodborne, we've got the leveling up stats. So basically in this case it's souls, not echoes. So how many souls you need for leveling up each level, and that goes right across. Then we've got your HP development graph, so that's all about your vitality, and here's all about vitality and HP, etc. So it's just giving you a lot of info to understand really how these things work, and so you can really judge where you want to put your points, you know, where you want to focus and how that best works for you. And then it's telling you here all about what's dexterity, strength, intelligence, faith, endurance, etc. And then it's going into all about humanity, your Estus flasks, inventory and equipment, trading items, understanding combat, physical attacks, defense, status ailments, so all the different ailments that you can get, NPCs, online mode, invading and being invaded. That's something I want to read, because I personally, with Bloodborne, I really like playing online, and so far I haven't been invaded, and I think there's something that you need to do to kind of allow that to happen. But with this, I think you can just be invaded if you're online. Now again, I need to read that. If that's the case, that's not what I want to happen. It's just not something I like. So I would have to go offline, which I think would be a shame, because I love all those little like messages and things that you see. I find that really helpful. I really enjoy that side of it. Anyway, so then online gameplay items, and then we get to your enemy guide. So it's saying here, the enemies are the real stars of the show in Dark Souls, and dealing with them and surviving their many forms of attack is where the game's heart really lies. This chapter aims to make it harder for them to surprise you, harder for them to trap you, and impossible for them to truly overwhelm them. You'll find all the tools here you need to take them on with confidence and bring them down with style. Well, frankly, that may be so, but I suspect I'm still going to die a lot. So let's see how big this chapter is. Quite big, I think. Okay, so that is all your enemies. So let's take a little look now. As I said, I'm not going to go through every page, but I do want to give you a reasonable overview of it. So we've got here, again, how to use the chapter. So it's telling you all of the information, and almost like a page within a page, showing you one of the pages and explaining how that all works and how they've put it together. So then through to the enemies themselves. So it's saying that the enemies covered in this chapter are listed by area and appear according to the area in which they first appear. So that's what we're doing. So we've got here, for example, the area Undead Asylum, and then we've got the enemies that appear in that area. So pretty simple, easy to find them. And I assume that somewhere there's an index as well, so you would be able to find them that way. So again, we've got artwork showing what the enemy is. We've got some artwork showing the enemy kind of in action, and then we've got strategy there, and also some statistics about the actual enemy as well. What's this? That's what I was thinking. Here we go. Enemy data reference. So here you'll find a list of all the important data for every enemy covered in this guide in a simple to easy to use section. This list is simply arranged alphabetically to make finding the enemy you're looking for as easy as possible. So basically, in this part at the back of your enemies chapter, I think I'll bring you down. What you've got is the enemy, obviously A, B, so alphabetically, where it appears, HP, the souls, physical defense, magic defense, and resistances. So you know then that that's in the Undead Asylum. It's got a little cross by it which tells you that it doesn't respawn. The only thing I can't see, which I would have thought might have been helpful, is a page number. I would have liked a page number next to each enemy, because it's all very well saying, yeah, it's in this section, but then you have to find that section within the book. So I would have thought that would have been a useful thing. So we've got a few pages on that. So just now flicking back, just so you can see a few of these enemies. And you can see the beautiful artwork. So, a few Future Press have this book, Dark Souls, the original, obviously one effectively, but this is the remastered one. But obviously they also have, you can still get the original, but you would probably need to get that second hand now. They also have Dark Souls 2. Unfortunately they didn't get the license to do Dark Souls 3, which I think is a real shame. I think that would have been a real nice thing to have. However, there is a book, but I can't find it new anymore. I don't know if that's the one that people were talking about having republished, but I didn't see it new anywhere anymore. But it was the trilogy, the Dark Souls trilogy, which I think would have been really nice. I think this is a good starting point anyway. It gives you like the idea and the concepts of Dark Souls, even if it's not specific to, you know, 2 or 3. I think it gives you a help with that anyway. I personally would have really liked to have either got the trilogy book or the to have actually had all 3 done by the same company. The thing apparently is that number 3 has been done by someone else. I had a look at that online and the reviews were not very good. I have not seen it, so I guess I can't comment personally, but what I would say is if you are trying to get all 3, be wary of the 3rd one. Make sure you do your research on it, because certainly the reviews I saw were not favourable at all. Okay, so chapter 3 is the area guide. Oh, look at that. That was just like total luck. So again, I imagine, whoops, we have beautiful artwork again. I can't turn the page. Yeah, how to use the chapter. So we've got the map legend here, because there's going to be maps. How to read the map, so it's telling you information on that. And then we go straight over. So the first section is obviously here the same as the enemies, Undead Asylum. You have your little map. You have things on the map. So for example, here is number 1. Very easy to read, so then you can go to number 1 in the text and it will give you information about that. It also sets down here the enemies and the important items and just some nice pictures, screenshots, and obviously more maps here. And I think it does tell you when things link up, but I don't think that applies to this one here. I was just trying to see, but I don't think that applies. Then we've got Firelink Shrine, but again, lovely big map, so really clear map as well. Now I'm not too worried about showing you this one because I know this is sort of like your base, at least I believe that's the case, so I don't think that that will be giving anything away too much. So you can get a really good look at how the map works, and then you've got some artwork and obviously all the text that relates as before to the map, and then these extra sections here. So there you've got your enemies, important items, etc. there as well. And then, as I say, we've got all these different sections with maps and artwork exactly the same. I don't want to spoil anything, as I said before, so I don't want to linger too long on any of those that are further up, because as I said, I don't want to accidentally give some spoilers away. Because you could be playing this game and thinking, oh, I might quite like to have this book because I'm struggling here, or actually it just will add some context to the story, or just because you like it, but you obviously don't want me coming along and showing you like the last map and completely ruining the whole thing for you. So hence why I'm trying to give you a feel for each chapter, but without overdoing it and spoiling anything for you. Okay, so then we've got chapter 4, which is items and equipment. Again, beautiful artwork. I'm not sure how much you'll see with the lighting. I'm hoping you're catching that. So this is just a big section on all of the equipment and items that are available in the game. Again, as before, how to use the chapter pages, and then we go into the actual items themselves. So we're starting off with weapons. So we've got a section dagger, and we've got various different daggers and little information on that. So let's take this one for example. Again, we've got some general information about it. Then we've got general attacks, so information on that, and a description of what those attacks mean. And then when we go to the actual item itself, what we have is a picture of it, the type of weapon it is, stability, durability, weight, acquired, and then information and statistics there, and I guess that statistic when you upgrade it, etc. All different upgrades that you can do and how that affects those statistics. That's your base statistics, I presume. I haven't read the information at the beginning, but you've got lots of information there, as you can see. And that then is the same across all these different weapons, that it sets all of that out. And then again, like here we're now on swords, so it sets out again the different types of attacks and what that means, and then you have that information. So when it says that's a strong attack, you know what that means within the parameters of swords. So that's all of those. So that's your different weapons. Curved swords, thrusting swords, crossbows. So then we have catalysts, which is required for you to cast any kind of magic. So that's all about that. Then pyromancy, talisman, shields, great shields, armour. So you've got the picture of the armour now and all the statistics even. So lots going on there. It's so new, the pages are kind of sticking together. Then consumables, so a little picture of the consumable like that. So that's that. Offensive items, multiplayer items, reinforcement materials, keys, sorcery, so much more information there. Like lots of written text there as well, explaining all of that. And then finally accessories, so rings, and yeah, mostly rings by the looks of it, and what they do. So now we get chapter 5, online combat. It's saying that we've added this chapter to help bring those new to PvP combat up to speed and possibly enlighten those more seasoned players on how to eviscerate their fellow undead travellers. So that is that size of a chapter. And of course, as before, no player, I was going to say as before there'll be a chapter guide, but there isn't. So there's just information about all of that online stuff and different rings and gestures, etiquette, etc. Then we get to extras. So it's saying Dark Soul includes a great deal of optional and hidden content, and this basically sheds light on many of those things. Okay, so that's all of chapter 6. That's quite a big chapter. So this is all the extras. So NPCs, non-playing characters that talk, listen, revisit, attack, trade, paths that they do. Then we've got just a whole set here of the area, what the character is, and the item and event. Then we've got the event and quest characters. So you've basically got your NPC. I'll turn over a page so you can see. And then who they are, their area, their HP, what items they drop, the little story about them, just information that's helpful to make, you know, I guess if they've got a little quest for you. So all information like that. So we've got your NPCs there. Then we've got merchants. So more NPCs here. I'm not reading it because I don't entirely know. Battle comrades, or comrades, however you want to say it. So different ones there. Oh, and then what's this? NPC reference data. So that's similar to what we had before, where you've got them in alphabetical order. The name of the NPC, where they appear, and their statistics, etc. So that's all that information for you. And quite a few pages on that. And then we've got your NPC map reference maps. And this section presents the locations of all NPCs in the game. These align, I think that's meant to say, with the conditions for their appearing are shown on the maps, making them easy to find and keep track of as they move through the game's progression. So it's going to tell you where they are to start with, but also if they move, where they are later on as well. So lots of information here. And so then you've got this is just one section of the Firelink Shrine, so you can just see that you've got like where the NPC is with the little arrow off to it to tell you who it is, what they need to do, and just other information. So for example, this says default location at the start of the game. So it just gives you this information, and you have that for all these maps. This is what I was trying to show you earlier, actually, here, where you've got different layers, how they do the map there, just showing the different layering. I couldn't find it before, but I knew I'd seen it. So anyway, so there's all your different maps. I don't want to show you too much on that. Then it talks about New Game Plus, and then you've got your completionist information, so information about your trophies that you and how to complete those, etc. So all the details there. Covenants. So I guess what the covenants are, and that will help you, I guess, know whether you want to join the covenant or not. Weapon upgrades. Rare enemies. And then finally, chapter 7, the lore. So it says, the story in Dark Souls is complex, mysterious, and told in the most unconventional way. It's kept players digging for years as they slowly discover connections and possibilities, many of them entirely dedicated to that pursuit. This is a very special chapter, lays down the story in a summarized form with citations for all the lore used to put it together. The lore summaries and the connection chart here were not created with any help from the developers. While we made sure to include as little speculation as possible, some of the conclusion may be the results of interpretation and are no way binding or official. So basically, this is the story, and this is like the chart showing all the connections, etc., and how it all comes together. But here's like an actual written out story and how things work and how the different people come together, but it is only these people's interpretation. Now I suspect that they've got a lot of this information from very dedicated players, etc. as well, that have really spent a lot of time putting this together and trying to work it out. That is the point of this game and this series of games, is that you come to it with your perspective. So although this chapter's there, it is only a guide, it is only to give you an idea. And you know, ultimately, if you're not the sort of person that's very good at really bringing these things together yourself when you play these sorts of games, it's going to give you an idea and give you a real help as to what's going on when you're playing the game, which is very difficult to follow. I you know, certainly with Bloodborne, it has been quite a puzzle, but enjoyable puzzle. And I think that's the same with these as well. And then anyway, the last part of the book is the index. So again, that's not a massive index, but it's a fairly basic index, I would say, but you've got those indexes throughout the chapters, on some of those chapters, I should say, not throughout the chapters, on some chapters as well. So I don't think they'll have repeated those indexes down here. So hopefully, you know, so I'm sure that's going to be more than adequate in view of all the other indexes that are available in the book as well. And then on the back, it's just plain, no artwork on the back, only artwork on the front. And that is it. As I said, I've been really enjoying these guides. I've found them really interesting to read. Just, even though I haven't started Dark Souls yet, I've been reading some of it. Not anything that's going to give anything away to me, but things like the mechanics and things, and to understand some of the detail of the actual, like, what's an Estus flask, you know. If you haven't played it before, you're not going to know what are souls, you know. Oh, right, they're your currency. Obviously, there's more to it than that, but, you know, things like that at the beginning, you don't even know. And so just to reading this, as I'm sure the game will give you some of that, but it's just interesting to see just that little bit more information. So I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at this book with me. I hope that you're enjoying this little series that I've been doing, looking at these different guides. There's still some more to come, so I hope you'll watch those as well. Thank you so much, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now. Bye.